Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is David Snyder. I'm a support specialist here at Aladtec. Today's webinar should run about 45 minutes, starting off with just a brief overview of Aladtec. Then I'll hand it off and you can get right into looking at an overview of the Aladtec system. So today we'll go over some features such as the member database, which is a great tool for setting up work qualifications, tracking member certifications, setting up messaging notifications, and much more. Then we'll talk a little bit about our schedule views and dive into some of the different ways you can view things such as trades, time off, events, and really see how you can filter it to get the exact information you need to see at any given time. We'll go over our customizable forms feature, which allows you to go paperless by creating electronic forms such as rig checks, end of shift reports, PO requests, and whatever specific forms your department or agency might need. From forms, we can share a little bit about how Aladtec reports work. See how you can take all the information in your Aladtec system and really filter it down and generate some really useful reports. Finally, we'll have a brief Q&A session at the end of the webinar. If you do have questions during the webinar, go ahead and post them in our GoToWebinar questions panel, and a support representative will be monitoring those and answer them as they come in, and maybe save a few to share with everyone at the end. So what is Aladtec? We're an online scheduling and workforce management software solution specially built from the ground up to handle the unique staffing habits of public safety agencies across the US and Canada. We started in 2002 as a web-based scheduling system for a local ambulance service, and since then, Aladtec has grown to host more than 2,300 agencies with 145,000 users across the US and Canada. Today, we're based here in River Falls, Wisconsin, about 30 minutes east of Minneapolis and St. Paul. Our EMS customers range from small rural departments with 20 members to large urban agencies with hundreds of paramedics, EMTs, and multiple stations. We do everything here in-house from engineering and configuration to sales and support as well. When you call, you'll always speak with a real person in Wisconsin. You can access Aladtec anytime online via desktop, tablet, or smartphone. It updates instantly so you always have the most up-to-date version of your schedules and other content. There are no extra costs. We provide all setup, training, and unlimited telephone support as long as you're an Aladtec user. With Aladtec, it's all customizable. We can create schedules as unique as your department needs. As long as you can describe the pattern, we can help you replicate it as a schedule. Speaking of schedules, let's switch gears here now and we'll give you an overview of Aladtec's features and some of its benefits, and this will help you determine whether our system is a good fit for your organization.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you all for sitting in with us today and joining for today's demo. My name is Mariah Bolden. I'm a system specialist here with Aladtec, and I built out a custom system for us to take a look at today to kind of go through some of the features that might be available within the Aladtec system and see what might be the best fit for you. Do keep in mind, if you do want to see what this system will look like custom for you and your specific organization, you're more than welcome to reach out to us and ask to see a custom demo where we can put in the information directly related to your system so you can see how your schedules and rules will look within our system during a trial period. As Dave said in that introduction there, if you do have any questions as we go through the demo here, feel free to post that information in that chat section in the questions, and we'll make sure to get those answered as we go along here as well. All that being said, I'll go ahead and get started walking you through this Aladtec system I have built out for today. And of course, post those questions as you come up with them. I'll start with discussing this page that we're looking at right now, which is going to be the home page of the Aladtec system. On this home page, you'll notice right away we have this very center section with a bunch of information that you can post or choose what you would like to post for your team to see whenever they log into the system. This page that we're looking at right now can be completely customized for you to choose what your team sees by hovering over Home at the top of the page and clicking on the option for the home page editor. From there, you'll get a Word style editor so you can customize that information. You can post policy reminders, updates, any information you want from birthdays to schedule events. You can get on that home page so your team will see that information whenever they log in from any computer. The other half of that home page is the dashboard on the right-hand side of the screen. And that dashboard's going to be a bit different because it'll actually be custom for each individual's login and permissions within your Aladtec system. Right now, I'm viewing from the point of view of an Aladtec administrator. And with that, you'll be able to see any of the administrative requests that need to be addressed within the system. You're actually able to click on and process those requests right from here. But of course, there are other places that you can tackle that information within the schedule as well, and we'll make sure to touch base on those in a bit here later as well. Right past that, you will be able to see all of your own upcoming shifts, and our system does allow you to track any licenses or certifications that you would like within the system. And on the home page as an administrator, you'll be able to see any that are expired or expiring shortly at your organization. You can also see any scheduled events right here, but those are also going to show up on the schedule view. As I noted, this will be different depending on the permissions of each individual within your organization. So if I look from the point of view of Clifford here, who is currently not an administrator within the system, their point of view is going to be quite a bit different. They'll of course see their own upcoming shifts and their own expired information and any events that are relevant to them, but they're not going to be stuck seeing all of those administrative tasks that they don't have access to address within the system anyways. So that home page there is really going to be an at a glance what's happening in the system that's important to me as the logged in user. The next page I want to pull up to here is going to be the member database. Clicking members at the top of the screen is going to pull me over to a view with the user's names listed on the left-hand side of the screen, and information that you can track for those users will show in columns across the top. As we saw on the home page of the system, there were some users with expired information and some users with information expiring shortly. That will also be evident here when you pull into the member database. Anything already expired will show up in a red font here, and anything expiring shortly will show up in this maroon type font as well. We do want to make it obvious for you to see that information, and of course track any set of information that you would like as well. The columns of information listed across the top here are just examples of some of the information that you're welcome to track within the system. If I click this drop-down in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see some of the other options some organizations choose to pull in. You can pull in anything from home addresses, immunization records, emergency contact information, anything you want your team to have access to, you can pull in here to the member database. We do want to make sure that you always have access to pull this information out of the system however you see fit. So no matter what page you have pulled up here and what information you're looking at, you'll always have the options available in the top right-hand corner of the screen to get a print-friendly version of that information or to export that out of the system as a CSV file, and that'll open up for you in Excel or Google Sheets, however you see fit. I did want to pull over to an individual specific profile here so we can see how all of these fields tie into one user rather than seeing the information for everybody at once. So for that, I'll go ahead and pick on Cameron here and pull up to their profile by hovering over the user's name and selecting the option to edit member. Right away at the top of the page, we'll have the first name, last name, username, and the option where you can reset or send a password out to a specific user. That can be done en masse, but you also do have the ability to pull up to an individual's profile and send an email directly to their password right here. Another option I like to note on this page is the access levels listed over here on the right-hand side. Access levels are how you're able to define who has permission to make what changes within your Aladtec system. Every system is going to come pre-populated with two very basic levels of permissions: the top-level administrator and member. Top-level administrator is going to be that overreaching admin account that you can have set up within your system. The users with that account level are going to have the ability to modify all schedules, change and update the member database, add and remove members, create forms, update the homepage, basically have full permission to change everything within your system. Members, on the other hand, that's going to be kind of the opposite set of permissions. That'll be the very basic permissions where a user can log into the system, see their schedule, and then perform a variety of tasks depending on what you give them permission to do, such as request time off, request trades, request signups. But all of those requests will still require administrative approval within the system there as well, unless you as the admin say otherwise. Past that, we know that those two levels don't necessarily cover all of the sets of permissions that you might have at your organization. So you can create as many different sets of permissions as you need within your system here as well. Let's say you do need a scheduler access level, such as the one we have created here, where the user is going to be able to update the schedules, but won't have the ability to add or remove members, update the homepage, change information in the member database. They just need to be able to update the schedule. That permission set can be created and assigned to any members you see fit. Even if there's somebody at your organization who maybe they need to see the schedules and they need to be able to run reports and update information in the member database, but you don't want them to make any other changes to their system, that can be created too. Any rules you might have, we should be able to get a unique access level defined for those set of rules and assigned out to your users as well. Past that, I'd like to touch on the messaging information that's going to be available within the Aladtec system. Our system communicates with text messages and emails, so the information listed here for mobile phone number, the provider, and users putting in their email is how they'll be able to receive notifications from within our system. At a lot of organizations, the favorite types of notifications people like to receive are the sign-up requests and the time-off requests, as well as the trades and giveaways. These notifications are going to allow users to receive alerts if their request to sign up for an open shift has been approved or denied, and they can get that email and or text, if their request for time off has been approved or denied, and if somebody's hoping to trade shifts with them, if a trade they're in has been approved, or if a trade they sent out has been accepted by another member, they're able to communicate through these notification types here as well, so they know what step that trade or other request is on as well. Another one that might be helpful for part-time or volunteer organizations, or just for teams that might not have consistent schedules, is going to be the upcoming shift reminder over here on the right-hand side. That will allow the users to choose if they get that text message and or email 24 hours before the start of their shift, so they have that quick reminder of where they need to be and when they need to be there as well. Of course, the shifts that users are able to sign up for, what they're able to trade into, that's all going to be dependent on what's selected down here under the work qualifications section. These work qualifications are how you can define who's allowed to work which positions and which schedules at your organization. As we see here, Cameron has full permission to work on all schedules and is able to fill all positions underneath those schedules as well. If we were to, for example, uncheck this paramedic position, Cameron is not going to be able to be put into any paramedic positions on the schedule on accident or on purpose because they're no longer marked as qualified to fill that position. These are not only going to ensure that users are not able to sign up for or trade into positions that they're not qualified for, but it's also going to make sure that they're not stuck getting alerts for open shifts that they're not qualified for either. So with that option unchecked, with an open paramedic position on the schedule, Cameron won't be stuck getting that text message and email for that open spot that they're not marked as qualified for. All of the qualifications, schedules, and positions are going to be completely customizable for each system to fit the labels that you have associated with your team and whatever will be the best fit for you. Right below that, we have the information listed for time off accrual within the system here as well. We do have the option to turn on accruals, so that users can set up those accrual banks for how many hours of each type of time off they accrue within a given time frame. You can, of course, add in all those different sets of accrual levels for whatever's fit for your organization, and even set it up that the users automatically advance from one profile to the next once they hit the time frame that they're done with a specific profile. Not only will users be able to see how many hours they're going to accrue, as well as when they're going to accrue them in that center column, but they'll also be able to see on the right-hand side how many hours they have available in their accrual bank, and of course the entire history associated with that accrual bank as well. They'll be able to see when they accrued hours, when they used hours, when their time off was canceled and hours were put back into their bank automatically. All of those hours and the history tied with them is going to show up in those accrual bank balances on the right-hand side here as well. Past that is everything that can be completely customized to track any set of information that you see as appropriate for your organization here. To modify the fields listed here, you're able to hover over members at the top of the screen and pull up to the member database configurator. This is going to show as kind of an outline of what we are just seeing on Cameron's profile, with the list of fields available on the left-hand side. You can add in any additional fields as is needed by hovering over the field, clicking on the option that you need, and dragging and dropping that wherever it needs to be. You can add in that title as you see fit, and as soon as you hit save down at the bottom, that field will be able to be filled out for each individual's profile. As you can see, there's the options for attachments so that you can attach files to profiles. There's dates that are set for expiration, number fields, multiple options, select lists. You really can choose to track any set of information that you see fit. And of course, if there's a field type that's no longer going to be helpful to your organization, you can also hover over that field, click the trash bin on the right-hand side there, confirm you want to delete that field, and that will be removed from the page there as well, and no longer an option to submit for each user's profile. That is all of the information that I had here related to the member database. And of course, feel free to post any questions that you have in that question section there, and we'll make sure to get those answered as well. The next page I wanted to pull up to here is going to be the Schedules tab at the top of the page. Clicking on Schedules is going to pull me over to a monthly calendar view, showing me everything happening at the organization for a full month's worth of time for the entire organization. Before we dive in too much to how this is going to work, seeing everything for everyone at once, I wanted to take a step back here and see how all of the information is going to be accessible in the most commonly used page for those general users at your organization as well. So for that, I'm going to pull up to the point of view of Clifford here and take a look at a page called the My Schedule page, which is going to be the most common one that the general users in your system are going to access. To get to that, I can hover over Schedules at the top and click My Schedule. This page here is going to show the users all of their own upcoming shifts in blue. They'll be able to click on any of those upcoming shifts, and from here, they have the ability to request trades and request time off within the system. When requesting a trade within the system, we currently have two types of trades available. There's the options for giveaways and the option for swap. A giveaway is going to be that completely open-ended kind of trade, where a user is no longer able to work their position, they're asking for somebody else to fill it, and at this point there is not going to be any shift payback that is clearly defined. The other type of trade that's available here is going to be the option for a swap, and that will be shift for shift. You give me this shift, I give you that shift. Both ends of that payback are figured out before it goes over to an administrator within the system as well. And of course, with swaps, we can't apply any rules you might have related to trades, such as if the trades must be traded for the same length of time, or if it needs to be paid back within the same week, same pay period, month. Those specific rules can be applied to the swap option within the system. If your organization does not allow one or either of these, any of these options can be turned off as you see fit to make sure it's matching up with the rules you have allowed at your specific organization. The other option available when a user clicks on an upcoming shift is the ability to request time off. When a user requests time off within the system, they'll be able to adjust the time frame as they see fit and choose the type from the list of custom types created within your system. When they choose the type, they can put in any notes that they need to the administrator on the right-hand side, and they'll also be able to see how many hours they have in their accrual bank, how many hours that request would take, and how many hours they would have total if that time off was approved by an administrator. Because we understand that emergencies do happen, our system does currently allow the numbers to go into the negative there, but both the user, when they submit that time off, as well as the administrator, when they go to approve or deny that time off, are going to see that bright red negative number before making that decision to submit or approve that time as well. When a user requests time off within the system, they'll be able to see that time off pending with that green A telling us that it's still pending the approval of an administrator within the system. It will show that the user is still marked as responsible for working their upcoming shifts until that time off is approved as well. Users can also check this box on the left-hand side here to see any open shifts that are available within the organization that they're qualified for. They can see all of those open shifts, and they can actually click on and request to sign up for those shifts right from here as well. Once a user requests to fill that open position, that sign up will also show in that green A there, letting us know that that sign up is pending the approval of an administrator. If your organization works in a first come, first served type basis where you don't need to approve somebody signing up for that shift, you want them to automatically show in blue here and be qualified and scheduled as soon as they click that option to sign up, that requirement for administrative approval can be turned off within the system, so it's automatically approved and updates the schedule as well. One more option available from this page, as you can see here, we do have available, prefer, and unavailable submitted for this user here as well. If your organization does schedule based on availability, that information can be put in, and users can add that in by hovering over any day and selecting the option to edit availability. Once again, the same how trades and giveaways can be turned off or on for the different options, so can the 3 different types of availability we have listed here as well. If you want only the option for prefer to be turned on for your organization and available and unavailable to be turned off, or maybe you want this feature turned off altogether, that can be set up however you see fit. The users are able to select the days that they want to mark themselves as available for, choose the time frame that they need that to be selected for, and as soon as they click Add Availability here, these options are going to show up so the user knows the days and times they mark themselves as available, unavailable, or prefer. One final thing to note about this page is the Share My Schedule option available on the left-hand side of the screen. This will be especially helpful at any part-time organizations with users who maybe work multiple jobs or have a shared family calendar where they have doctor's appointments and baseball games side by side with work schedules and they want to see all of that information together. They can click that Share My Schedule option, check the boxes of information that's important to them, and when they click Get Link, they'll have a link and instructions for how to take their Aladtec schedule information and pull it into their own personal Google, Apple, Outlook, or any other personal calendar they might be using there as well, so they can get that Aladtec schedule information pulled into their personal calendar. We do try to make this the one-stop shop for those general users to tackle everything they might need within the Aladtec system. So we try to make it as straightforward and simple as possible. And with that being finished up here, I'm actually going to pull back over to our administrative point of view and take a look at that overall schedule we glanced at earlier and start going through some of the options that show up there as well. Back over on our administrative view here, looking at that monthly calendar view, I do want to note that this overall full month view is not the only view of the system that you're able to see. Up in the top right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see we actually have quite a few different options available for calendar views, and you can pick and choose what will be the best fit for you. A lot of organizations who want to see that one day at a time view really do like this daily summary view here, so you're more than welcome to pull up to any of those views and decide what will be the best fit for your team or for the task you're hoping to currently complete. Every single one of these views of the system is going to have this edit option listed just to the left-hand side of those calendars. And selecting that is going to allow you to check the boxes of the information that's important for you to see at that point. Maybe for now, we actually only need to see the ALS and BLS truck. I can check just those two boxes, hit apply, and have my view narrowed down to just those two trucks. That edit option is going to be available for every user to select the information that's important to them. And of course, changing your own view does not modify anybody else's, so you can pick and choose exactly what you want to see without worrying about it changing anything for anybody else. There's quite a few colors and labels showing up on this page, so I want to make sure to touch on those as well. As we saw in that My Schedule view, any time off on the calendar is going to show up for you in orange, with the user's name, the type of time off, and the time frame that they're going to be gone as well. If somebody has requested that time off and it has not yet been approved by an administrator, that will show in orange on the overall view here as well, but it will once again have that green A telling us that it's pending the approval of an administrator within the system. Any trades on your schedule are going to show up in green, letting you know who's working for who, the time frame that they traded, and you'll also be able to see these green arrows next to the user's shift, so you can easily point out who's working that day due to a trade rather than a normally scheduled rotational shift. You can set minimum staffing levels on your schedule, and any time that you drop below those levels, you'll get that bright red exclamation point letting you know you fell below your defined levels. The minimum staffing can be set per day of the week and time of day, so if that varies for your organization, that can be set up as you see fit. Open positions on your calendar show up for you in purple with the position title rather than the user's name and the time frame highlighted there in purple as well. If users are requesting to fill that open position on your calendar, those signups will also show down below in purple, once again with that green A letting us know that it's pending the approval of an administrator. Any events that might be happening at your organization can be added to the calendar in tan here, and those can be added to any date by hovering over the day and selecting the option to add event. Those can be set up on a rotational basis, such as this business meeting here, having that R next to it, letting me know that that does set to repeat in a specific pattern on the schedule as well. You'll see some days, such as this ALS truck on the 18th, has a little post-it note associated with the shift. Hovering over that note is going to show us the information or the quick reminder that was added to that schedule. In the case of the 18th here, that little post-it note is letting us know that there's a new equipment arriving today. That note can be added to the schedule by an administrator on any day by once again hovering over that date and selecting the option to add note. Once that message is typed in and you select save, that post-it's going to show up for you, and that'll be visible from any schedule view from any device or location as well. All of the schedules information showing up here is going to be different for your schedule depending on, of course, your rules. For example, if your system's set up for that first come, first served situation, you might not be stuck with a bunch of pending signups here. So keep in mind, all of this information can be customized for the rules of your organization. However, something that most organizations tend to have in common is that you might need the ability to send out alerts if you have open upcoming shifts and you need coverage for that. I do see that we have pending time off here for Clifford, so if I click on that request from here, I'm able to see that information sent over and have the ability to approve time off. As soon as I select the option to approve, we'll see that Clifford is pulled off of the schedule and their position is now showing in purple as open. As soon as that position shows as open, we have this blue envelope showing on the top of the day, and that's actually going to show on any day in your schedule that has an open position available. Clicking on that blue envelope is how you're able to send out that alert saying that you need coverage for your shift. When you click that envelope, you'll have two options available. The first is going to be to select the open position and then just hit send over here on the right-hand side of the screen. The reason for that is because this tool in the middle here is going to look at the information in your member database, and it'll send a pre-populated email and text message with all of that shift information just to the users who are marked in your member database as qualified to work that wheelchair van schedule, qualified to fill that driver position. And this center section here is also going to ensure that that alert only goes to users who are not already scheduled to work at that time frame and who are not listed as on paid time off. Of course, let's say that, for example, you want to send it to only your part-time members. You do have the option to customize that information to send it over to only a specific team as well. But by default, it is going to send that over to everybody who meets those qualifications. Once you hit send, everybody who's qualified will receive that text message and email, and they can log into the system and request to sign up to fill that open position like we see here on the 13th. The other option that's going to be available when you click on that blue envelope is to, of course, still select the position that you need covered on the left-hand side. But if you do have a rotational overtime lift at your organization, you can click this drop-down on the top right-hand side of the screen and choose that you want to send that out based on a rotational overtime list that you have defined within your system. That rotational list can be set up to rotate however you see as is appropriate. If it's by last time they were offered a shift, last time they took an open shift, by number of hours worked, by seniority at the organization, that list can be set up to rotate however you see fit. And you can even customize how long users have to accept or deny that shift before it moves on to the next member of your organization. Feel free to reach out to us for a custom demo if you do want to see your specific rotational list put into the system here as well. But either way, once you hit send, that list will start rotating and the users will have the opportunity to sign up for that shift as it's their turn to do so. The next page we want to take a look at today is going to be the hourly editor page because it is where you make all of those little day-to-day changes to the calendar. For example, we do have these 3 signups here to fill that ALS truck position on the 13th. This page here is going to show in the order of whoever signed up first. So I do know that Carlos was the first individual to sign up to request to fill this shift, but maybe rather than seeing whoever signed up first, I actually want to see the information for who worked the fewest hours or who's the most senior. If that's the case, I'll pull up to that hourly editor page by either hovering over schedules at the top and clicking hourly editor, or if I know the specific date I want to modify, I can hover over the schedule and select the option to edit schedule to be pulled up to the hourly editor for that specific date. On this page, I can see the 3 individuals who requested to sign up to fill that open position. And I actually want to click the option to edit up here in the right-hand corner of the page to modify the information I'm seeing. I want to see the total number of hours each of those individuals worked for the current pay period, and I'm actually going to scroll down a bit here and also choose to pull in the information for their date hired so I can see their seniority next to their names as well. Once I click apply, we'll see these 2 columns to the left-hand side of the user's shift information are going to show those details we had sent in. I can actually hold shift and click on either of these options to sort by that information. So I can choose that I want to give that shift over to the most senior member, least senior member, whoever signed up first, whoever has the fewest hours. In this case, I think I'm going to go with Heather because they're the most senior member with the fewest number of hours that requested to sign up for that shift. When I click that sign up and select the option to approve, a few things are going to happen all at once. Number 1, we'll see that that minimum staffing alert went away and Heather was added to the schedule, and that's going to update for all views of the schedule for all users as well. Heather will also be able to get that text message and or email letting them know that they did get that shift, and the other 2 users who signed up and did not receive that shift will get that alert letting them know that they did not get that shift as well. So nobody's going to be stuck wondering if or when they did or did not get that shift. They'll immediately be notified. On this page, there is a bunch of other changes you can also make, and in order to demonstrate some of those, I'm going to click Edit up in the top right-hand screen of the page here. I'm going to pull in the BLS truck and the medic vehicle as well. Once I hit Apply there, my view is going to update to show me all three schedules. Let's say that somebody calls off sick and you need to pull them off of the schedule within your system here. You can hover over the three lines to the left-hand side of their shift and select the option to submit time off on behalf of that user. You can adjust the dates and times as you see fit and choose the type from the custom list here as well. Once you select the option to approve that user is going to be pulled off of the shift, you'll have your blue envelope and the minimum staffing will update as well. You can send out that alert for coverage, but maybe Erica said that they would be, or Leslie here said they would be more than happy to fill that open position in the evening on the ALS truck rather than working morning on Medic 5. If that's the case, I can click and hold on Leslie's shift and actually drag and drop that user from one schedule to another. That's going to allow for those quick updates from multiple places within your system, and you can actually even drag and drop users from under the member availability here to add them onto the schedule as well. So with this open medic position, maybe I spoke with Crystal in passing and I want to add them to that schedule for the time frame. I can click and hold and drag and drop Crystal to be on that schedule there as well. You can also adjust users' time frames that they're on the schedule by hovering over their shift and grabbing that purple arrow on either side. Maybe Bob said they'd be more than happy to help out with those minimum staffing levels by working till 2200 rather than being off at 1900. I can grab this purple arrow, click and hold, and drag to extend that shift time for Bob so they're working those additional few hours. Any changes you make here in the hourly editor do immediately update and are immediately saved, so you're not stuck hitting a save button 1,000 times an hour as you make those little changes to your schedule here. When we do custom demos with organizations, I always tell them that this page right here is going to be the best page to play around with, test out, and make sure that you have a good feel for how things move on this page as well. That actually is all of the information that I had for today in regards to the schedules. But like I keep saying, if you do want to see more information or how it ties to your system, let us know and we can set up a custom for you as well. I wanted to briefly touch on the forms section available within our system here. Hovering over forms at the top of the page, I can see some of the information and some of the forms that I have built into the system for today. I'll go ahead and open up to this ambulance mechanical here to show you some of the field types that are available. You can do short answer, long answer, number fields, select lists, signature boxes, attachments, really any type of fields that you can think of, you should be able to get built into the system here as well. If I click the option in the top right-hand corner to edit form configuration, you'll see we get an outline pretty similar to that member database configurator we were taking a look at earlier. There's a list of fields available on the left-hand side, and you can click and hold on any of those fields and drag and drop them to put them anywhere that you need within that page. Customizing the options for any field is as easy as hovering over that field, clicking the pencil on the right-hand side, and deciding the information that needs to be added in. You can also set up notification routings within this form here. So if you do want a user to receive a notification every single time a form is submitted with a specific field marked, you can set it up so that a specific group or a specific individual receives that alert every time the form is submitted with that field marked. Or in the case of some forms, such as a work order report, you probably want them to receive a notification every single time that form is submitted, no matter what information is filled out. And you can set it up that a notification goes out each individual time a form is submitted as well. All of our systems do come with sample forms available for you to take a look at and decide what's going to be the best fit. But you do also have the ability, rather than starting with a sample form, to click the option to design new form, start from scratch, and build out whatever you see as fit for your organization as well. Anything that is submitted within these forms is going to show up in a report because we want to make sure, same as the member database, that you're able to pull that information out of the schedule however you see fit. So if I pull up the ambulance mechanical form report here, for example, I'm able to see all of those submissions and will have the option available in the top right-hand corner of the screen to export that out of the system if I do need to send that information elsewhere as well. There is another report that I want to make sure to touch on within the system here as well, and that's going to be our scheduled time report. The scheduled time report is going to be the most popular one that people like to pull out of the system here. It'll allow you to choose the time frame that you want to see information for. You can click Edit to the left-hand side and choose exactly what fields you want to include. And it'll show you the the shifts worked by each individual, the time frames they worked, and you'll get each hour as well as a subtotal for each individual for how many hours they worked in your selected time frame. At the bottom of the page here, you will also get those departmental totals. And once again, that information will be able to be printed out of the system or exported as a CSV file to send wherever else it might need to be. Most payroll softwares do accept CSV imports into their specific softwares, so it's definitely a good report to play around with as well. One more report that's going to be available within our system that I want to make sure to touch on is our system log here. So the system log is actually a virtual audit trail that's going to track everything and anything that happens within your Aladtec system here. Right now, you'll see that all of the actions taken so far are by myself, Aladtec support. But as you dive into a system and start playing around with it, you'll be able to see your name showing up as the user making changes within that system there as well. This is going to allow you to make sure that even if there's a dozen people in your system or more making changes, you're always going to have your finger on the pulse of exactly what's happening within your Aladtec system. The next tab here, our storage tab, is 200 gigabytes of storage that every single system will come equipped with for you to store any set of information that you need within your Aladtec system. A lot of organizations will create a folder for their standard operating procedures with subfolders beneath that for different categories and topics. You can have personnel files, emergency plans, and you can mark any of those that you need as restricted to ensure that only specific users have access to the information that you need them to have access to as well. One more feature I like to touch on within our Aladtec system here is going to be the mobile version. When I select the option to view mobile site down at the bottom of the screen here, it's going to pull me over to a view showing me how this looks from any other cell phone within the system or even a tablet as well. From the administrative point of view, of course, you'll be able to see all of your own information at the top, but scrolling down below that, you'll also be able to see and process any administrative requests within the system too. You will also be able to click that menu option in the top right-hand corner of the screen and pull up to the daily summary view to see what's happening on the schedule in any given day. You will have the ability to send those fine coverage alerts using that blue envelope in the top right-hand corner, and you can actually even pull up to the member database. So if you quickly need to pull up to the emergency contact information for a specific user, you can click their name, expand any of the fields, and see the information that you need right away from your cell phone or whatever device you might have available. General users in the system are going to have full access to tackle any set of information they need from that My Schedule page as well. They can request trades, request time off, sign up for open shifts, submit availability. All of the tasks that we saw available on that full site are going to be fully accessible to all users on that My Schedule page on their mobile version as well. Pulling back over to our full site, there is one more page that I want to take a look at and note, and that's going to be our help section. This is going to be available in every single system, and it's going to have videos and documentation alongside with that on how to change basically anything and everything you could want to change within the Aladtec system. Those videos and documents are going to vary depending on the permissions of the individuals, So someone who's a general user in your organization isn't going to be stuck seeing how to change the setup in their system when it really isn't relevant to that user as well. We do want to be here to help you out in any way that we can, so we are going to be available for assistance under that Contact Us tab, where you'll be able to reach out to Dave at our organization or anybody else on our support team who will be able to help you with any of those questions that you might have. Really quickly here, I did want to say thank you all so much for joining us for today's call. And really quickly, we do have a couple of quick questions I would also like to tackle here as well. Okay, let's see. So Andrew is asking if you can create an access level so somebody can see everything in your system but not have access to change anything. Yes, you do have full access to get those permission sets set up so that a user is able to log into the system, see information, but not make any changes. We actually run into quite a few organizations who like to create an access level so their dispatch organization can log in, see the information, see who's working, but not have the ability to make any changes within that system. Let's see, another question here. Erica. Erica wants to know if she can limit how far in the future people are able to sign up for shifts. Yes, you are able to set up work limits within our system here as well. You can set it up so that a user is able to sign up only for shifts within the same month in the next month, or within a custom amount of time. And that's going to be under the work groups feature that's available within our system here as well. It looks like that is going to be all the time that we have available for questions today. Thank you all so much for joining us for what was actually the 50th webinar that we presented. We present webinars for, of course, prospects who might be taking a look at the system, trying to find out if it's a good fit for them. But we also create webinars for our customers to go through any specific topics that we might want to expand further and let them know more things that are available within the system here as well. If you take a look in our chat section, we should have a link there if you're looking and interested in signing up for a free demo. And we do also have handouts available. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us today. Feel free to give us a call at 888-749-5550 or visit us at aladtec.com to set up a custom demo of your system here too. Thank you again and have a great day.